All right, we're going to get kicked off. So first of all, let me welcome everybody to the February meeting. If you don't know me, my name is Del White. I am the president for 2026. If Mike would stop talking, it would be really helpful. Thank you. So anyway, we're going to kick off the meeting, get going. Are there any guests here today? Come on, introduce yourself and let us know who you are, where you've been, what you've been doing, dive in, all that kind of good stuff.
Absolutely. Hello, everybody. My name is James Real. This is my second time attending your meeting. Met some of you last time, but I'm new to the sport. I've been going diving in Laguna, free diving, getting kind of adjusted, getting used to being in the water and diving, kind of getting my feet wet, if you will. Other than that, I'm friends with John Hughes. He's and I know Woody, so that's kind of how I found out about you guys. And so John invited me, and so I've been interested in learning, and so I figure the best way to do that is to hang out with guys that have a lot of experience. So here I am. Cool.
Sorry, one of the things that we talk about in my family is if I'm giving somebody shit, that means I like them. So it's just we give shit to this family, right? So it's all good. Anyway, what we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of run through the agenda. You'll see we've got some stuff from Fish Stories from members. Then we've got the full agenda you see here. We'll just kick it off with anybody in the water. Anybody got any fish stories to tell?
I just want to mention that I've been over to Point Vicinity 4 times this week. 3 of the times just going to Trader Joe's down there, and we're seeing whales from my car. Wow. So I just been like pulling over with my kids and checking them out. And my aunt was in town, and I told my mom, hey, it's like, whatever, all these people live in miserable USA, whatever the snow and the ice is doing, but I think it was 85 over there today, and I was waving at Juan at the island, it was really nice. But it's been really thick, so those of you that are interested have access either to take, friends and family out on your boats, or we just been going down there and walking the dog, and we've seen whales the last 4 times I've been out there, so that's pretty cool. They come up in November, they go down. I think they're going down right now. So they'll be coming back up here in a couple weeks. But right now it's really thick. So thought I'd mention it. And then also, I'm on the tentative thread. So I've been trying to get these guys motivated. And it's kind of fun talking a bunch of smack. And they saw some pictures, but it's a lot of swell this week. A lot of swell next week too, so I finally got out, did a little surfing, but I was trying to catch up on my slow early lobster season. It's just been slow for me, and had a couple of really decent dives. I went out a couple times with Zylstra, and we got nice limits, and then I did a dive with Ron at one of his secret spots. It was really cool. I personally, I've really been wanting to write an article for years on tank diving. I know there's some tank divers here. I love tank diving, you guys. It has not only, Del and everybody else were always preaching safety. There was a lot of years, I'm not a deep diver. There was a lot of years I would throw a tank on board when I was shooting sea bass, and it's dirty or it's deeper than my comfort level. Having a tank to dig a fish out, first and foremost, it's a great way to go. You don't want to be doing that stuff if you're not certified. It is dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. But if you have larger boats or whatever, you should have a tank on board. It really is a big safety thing. I'm not going to go sideways on this, but I did a tank dive with Ron at one of his kind of secret little structure spots. It was out at 70 feet, and I dove the night before with Zylstra, and that was a quick hit. And then I went out first thing in the morning with Ron on tanks, and as I dropped into this little piece of structure, I was thinking to myself, what is that? Is that kelp or what? And it was just this massive pile of bugs. So I hadn't ever run into the bull rings, like real bull rings before, if you guys have heard what bull rings are. And that's like, these lobsters just get out in the sand and they just get in these huge piles, you know, and there was probably, I don't know, there was 4 or 5 or 6 piles of bugs around this and in this structure and everything. And none of these bugs that day there was never, not really any size. They were about just under legal to just over legal. And there's maybe 60% short, 40% legal. And in these piles, all the legal ones were like right in the middle. So you're like kind of, couldn't really pick off the sides of them. So you had to go in the middle. And then, I don't know, when you get in these spots of really thick bugs and they start swimming and jumping and running and stirring everything up, it gets pretty crazy. It's a lot of fun. And I don't know, it was a really bitchin' experience. The cool thing was, it was like, this whole bull ring would explode, and then I would move out of the dust and either onto the structure or onto another pile, and they would just like move over and reform. So, and then I just moved from one to the next, and I got our limits here in pretty quick time. But I don't know, I see that guy over there in the white shirt. He's not paying attention to me, he never does. He probably doesn't know my name, but he does some tank diving, and that's also the guy who does our free dive classes, right? We've been talking about getting James involved in one, and there's a couple other people. I think we're going to be trying to rally a group here in the next couple of months, right, Seamus? Okay. Oh, Lance, what's up? It's been a while. Lance, good to see you, man. Yeah, it has been a few years. Good to see you. And then, Seamus, do you certify guys on tanks as well? You don't do that anymore? Yeah, all right. Well, I don't know. I'm going to write an article, because probably some of the coolest dives I've ever done in my whole life have been on tanks, man. Just insane. You can do stuff on tanks that you can't do free diving. And I've had some really bitchin' experience, but that was one last week that I had. It was cool. That's what I got. And go see the whales.
Cool. Any other members, fish stories?
I think a follow-up to John's. I was spearing on Point Vicente just about a week ago, but it's been really clear and warm. Like, because usually, the upwellings make it a little brisk over there, and it was like 62 at the surface. The big swell inside the bay didn't really, I don't know what it's like now, but it didn't really get inside waves. Yeah. Well, I mean, not right on the point, but I mean,
Pretty last Thursday, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
And then
the point was closed.
the 10-foot swell hit.
So, Mark, you want to give a quick update on finances and member payments and all that kind of good stuff?
Hey everybody, Mark Winnikin, your treasurer. Let's see, so we are doing pretty well on dues collections, so we appreciate everybody who's paid so far. Dues will be considered late. One more month, so you have till March, and then it's a $25 extra. Dues, to remind everybody, are now $100 a year. We've had a few people that think it's still the old price. So you can see me about that. But we'll charge you extra. You owe more. But we do have about 75% of members have paid, so we're pretty excited about that. And what else was I going to mention? Oh, so we've always talked about the types of payments that we like to accept, and just want to remind everybody that Zelle is our preferred way to pay. But we do have PayPal and we do have Venmo, and so we'll just accept anything. But just so you know, PayPal and Venmo do charge us a fee because we're technically a corporation. But we had some issues with Venmo, didn't know we had a Venmo, figured out that we did. And so between that, check, cash, we got you covered. Other than that, we're trying to, prepay for all of our events, for all the reservations and the sites. and just stay ahead now that we've had some good momentum with our budget and came out of the year looking pretty good. Other than that, that's all I got. Thanks.
I don't see Dennis, so I'm going to take over and do the fish standings. Fish standings are one fish has been turned in. Where's Juan? Juan's got a calico. He submitted for the Calico Derby. 6.5 pound calico from Juan. So that's the fish standings.
How many months were you feeding it?
So David, you want to give an update on tentatives, where we are and who's here and all that kind of good stuff? And then after he does that, all the attendees want to come up and introduce themselves again for everybody, and then also if you've got any good stories on fishing as well.
Yep. I'm David Schweer, tentative manager this year. Been communicating with these guys. We've got 7 tentatives right now. 3 are here tonight, so we've been just communicating, trying to organize some dives. We got out on Dell's boat last weekend with Yago, and we hit PV early in the morning, right before the high tide, and it was churned up and no good viz. So that's the latest update on that area. So we shot over to the island, and we're just going after anything bigger than a 6.5 pound calico, but I didn't see him. Dell and I each got one, but we're still following behind Juan, so that's the latest. A couple of the guys I talked to, they were busy. A couple guys sick, a couple of guys are working, so we got Shane, Alex, and Yago here, so if you guys want to come up, say who your sponsor is, tell us fish stories or anything you want. Thanks.
All right, my name is Shane Machado. Juan is my sponsor. Been diving with Juan since I was about 15. Shot my first island yellow with Juan, first white sea bass, and first bluefin, and majority of my bluefin with Juan. So Juan definitely took me under his wing when I was 15. I had no idea what I was doing. So it's nice to finally have it come back around and be diving with Juan more and actually understand what I'm doing. But yeah, I've been diving since I was about 12, 23 now. Live in Avalon. I'm a full-time fireman in Avalon. I work for the Conservancy as a ranger as well, and do some dives for Toba as a salvage diver as well. But yeah, just been spearfishing. Haven't been in the water in about 3 months. Been doing some online school, and it's a little too cold for me right now. There's not much really happening besides launching all the calico on the island. So
He's got a nice boat though.
I just got a 25 Parker. I have a 17 whaler, so if anyone wants a 17 whaler, let me know. I'm trying to get rid of more boats. I also have a 13 whaler that's also for sale. So if you guys want that as well, let me know. Is that true? That is true. But yeah, if you guys have any questions for me, I'll be more than happy to ask them. No, unfortunately not. I would love to not kill all the deer, but I would love to help out if that is what it comes down to.
Want to give us maybe an update on that?
Yeah, so I take it you guys have heard about Canada Deer, Save the Deer, how.org. There's not 2,000 deer. I do work for the Canada Conservancy as a ranger for them. I was the one who actually leaked all the information about this 2 years ago and started this whole Save the Deer process. So we are still fighting with the whole deer thing. We got California Pistol Rifle Association, we got how.org, and numerous other people. We're trying to get with the guys from Meat Eater. They're also trying to come out and do some stuff and try to fight for it. Permit did get approved for the Canada Restoration Project, which does not mean deer are going to die right away, because that still involves permits, because you can't really just shoot animals and leave them in the state of California, especially from helicopters and with silencers. So Conservancy doesn't really know what's happening, but it is a start of the process for that to happen. But yeah, there's not really much happening else besides
What are
that.
you guys gonna do with the sailboat if that goes wrong?
That is a great question. I have no idea about that one.
That's a Coast Guard question.
That's a Coast Guard question. Fuel and oil is gone. That's a towboat question that I helped with. After that, that boat's just lawn art now. Just need to push it a little deeper. Other side. Yeah. A little farther down the coast. So it's going to be a good lobster spot, but I just won't go with you. Anything else while I'm up here? If not, Alex?
job. What's up, everybody? I'm Alex Vangelos. I live up in the San Fernando Valley, and I've been diving now seriously since I was around 20. I started at like 15, but seriously around 20, and 34 now. So been at it a little while. It's interesting. You know, Eric is technically my sponsor, but I actually mentored Eric in pretty much everything he knows. Jokes aside, though, Eric is my sponsor, and he's been a great mentor to me on the jiu-jitsu mats. I think the spearfishing goes pretty even back and forth. So yeah, I mean, as far as fish stories go, I was kind of thinking about a few, and I was going to maybe tell two, but one came to mind that I think is kind of funny, and you guys will appreciate. So I was actually out with Ivan, the only time I've ever dove with Ivan, probably 7, 8 years ago, probably 6, 7 years ago, something like that. And at the time, I was going out with Woody a lot, who you guys may know, and I was doing like these dives and these like ribs with Woody, and he'd be like throwing up half the time and like going crazy the other half the time. So anyways, one day he called me and he's like, "Hey, I'm going out with Todd Farquhar tomorrow. Do you want to go?" And I'm like, "Where are we going?" He's like, "SBI." I'm like, "I'm in." So it's April, and we stop at Farnsworth Bank on the way to SBI. And at the time, I was going through this phase of like over tinkering with all the gear. I needed everything to be powered up and blah, 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 blah. And as I've learned over the years, less is more. Like, just don't give me hot bands, just give me like a normal shooting gun and I'm great. But at the time, I'm buying these Mike Novotny mid handles and I'm putting, 11 30-second shafts on it and the small ID bands, and I'm jacking them up to 380%. And I'd get out there and I'd shoot the gun, and of course, the shaft would go nowhere near where I was aiming. So anyways, we're at Farnsworth Bank, and all of a sudden, lo and behold, like there's yellowtail everywhere. So I'm, probably classically at that time missing shots, but somehow I had ended up shooting these 3 yellowtail during that whole diving session, and I think everybody there, I think I shot the most yellowtail there. I think it was like me, 3, whatever, I don't remember. Anyways, we get back to the boat, and they're like, whatever. The guys are like, "Great job, nice 3 yellows." Little did they know, I didn't aim at a single fish that I hit, and I'm just like shooting at this fish, hitting that fish over there, and I'm like, great. So yeah, anyways, I thought that was a funny story. And a more recent story, I went down to Baja last year. I have this kind of this Israeli dive crew that I'm friends with. You guys probably know some of them. Erez, Shai, Ofer, maybe you do Asi. Maybe some of you guys know Asi. Anyways, I went down to Mexico with them. Richie Balta came on the trip, and I had never dove with Richie. And obviously Richie's one of the top divers, not the top diver in the state. So of course he's crushing it. And all of a sudden he shoots the 84-pound grouper, and I'm sitting there trying to scratch out some Cabria and some yellows. And I was having serious sinus issues on this trip, and I hadn't shot a single grouper, which is pretty rare for me on these trips. I've never shot a big one, but I always shoot a 50-pounder, a couple 30-pounders. So anyways, I'm diving for like 4 days straight. I'm not seeing any grouper, and I'm like bleeding out of my nose, out of my frickin' everywhere. It was terrible. And finally, I'm down like maybe 60, 65 feet, and I'm kind of doing the thing you're not supposed to do, which is like rip the current all the way down the reef. But I'm like, whatever, I'm gonna rip the current. And all of a sudden, I'm like, boom, grouper. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, it's like a 25-pounder. I'm like, great, I'll take it. And I took the shot, and I stone it, and I swim up to the surface, and I got blood in my mask, and I start pulling it up, and the closer it gets to the surface, it gets bigger and bigger, and it was a 74-pound grouper, my biggest to date. So that's a recent fish story.
Hey everyone, I'm Yago from Santiago. That's how people remember, the easiest way to remember. So I'm a tentative, been coming to meetings since September, and I just want to say thank you. I'm super grateful, first and foremost, to Steve as my sponsor, and just everyone's been super welcoming, and John teaching me all the ways of rigging the reels and how to use the reels, and Mike with some tips on calico fishing last Sunday. So really all I want to say is thank you, super grateful. David and everyone's been really, really welcoming, and I'm delighted to be a part of this, and just really look forward to to developing fish stories. One thing I will say is that I'm a coach, I'm a squash coach, and I always say to soon-to-be or future squash players, take lessons. If you only take 5 lessons, have them be your first 5 hours on the squash court. And I'm a self-taught spearo and diver, and I'm a good swimmer, but I'm self-taught in the world of spearfishing. And man, do I wish that I had done what I've done in the last few months 20 years ago, because you build up bad habits. So I don't really know what the takeaway is, but I definitely think that it's super valuable, particularly in a sport that requires safety and high levels of attention, to be part of a group like this where you can learn so much. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, guys. So I want to make an introduction if you haven't met her yet. This is our new director of Department Fish and Game. Megan has quite a background at NGOs and other kind of organizations dealing with conservation. I thought I would just share with you a few quotes that were on one of the posts. This happens to be the long-range spearfishing one, but the one that jumped out at me the most, I think, was the one: if we continue down the elected path that we're on now, we'll be lucky if we can fish in 2030, right? What's happening to our fishery is going to be terrible, right? They're looking at extending MPAs, they're looking at more closures. She's a big proponent of the 30-30 plan, which is part of the World Health, not World Health, but the national, whatever, the globalist, right? The globalist theme, 30-30 plan. So, proponent. She's very behind the 30-30 plan, right? And so, yes. So, I was scratching my head, what can we do? The good news is we've got Paul and others that are, kind of into the conservation part of this. For me, I'm learning. So first thing I think we can do is we can join CCA. If you're not a member of CCA, I did the 3-year plan, but it's $40 a year. I did the 3-year plan so I could save a little money. But join CCA. That's one thing we can do as a club, right? Immediately, everybody should be a member of this. They've got lobbyists, they've got working groups, they've got people to try to combat what's happening with these people in California politics that want to shut down our fishery. The second thing we can do is there's a petition that they're wanting people to sign online. You can go there, you can sign it, and then they're going to have these workshops throughout the state. And these workshops are going to be talking about what we can do as individuals and the petition to try to, again, slow down, if not stop, some of these things that they want to do. This one specifically about this MPA extension is what this petition's about, and they've got lawyers. The third thing we can do, and Paul is sponsoring this, is trying to pull together. They have a fundraiser every year. Again, it takes a lot of money to fight, California government, right? So they're doing a fundraiser. It's pretty pricey. It's $250 for a chair, if you will, or a seat on the table. But we're trying to get people that want to be at this event in May and have the means to participate. So again, it's pretty devastating for me to see something that we really love continue to get shrunk as far as what's available to us. And personally, I don't want to have to be going out of the country to spearfish, right? We've got this in our backyard, and we just got to protect it. So.
Can I add one thing real quick? A couple organizations, like historically backcountry hunters and anglers, were under fairly poor leadership, and I think were fairly questionable for a period of time. There's a new president of the organization, Cal, from Meat Eater, and I think backcountry hunters and anglers are a great organization, as well as All Waters, which is a new organization that's been recently founded. A friend of mine, Chris Killen, up in Northern California, founded All Waters. They've been extremely involved in getting really detail-oriented on all the 30x30 plans, all the MPA plans, and fighting back. So All Waters is another great one. And then there was one other that I wanted to mention. Those two for now.
Yeah. So thank you. So anyway, I think that's something, you always look at what can you actually do, right? And you can complain online and all that kind of shit, but if you don't really take action, It's
Sorry,
worthless.
I remember one other organization that's primarily hunting focused, but I think we can get them a lot more on board for fishing is Howl Wildlife. And I'm not sure if you guys have followed Howl, but they have come to like major rallying cries when they try to ban like bear hunting and actually the state of California, Howl Wildlife. So Howl is another one that I think we got them to go, hey, you need to focus on these issues. They would get involved, and there's a big network there.
Yeah, and the last thing, I probably shouldn't say it because you're not supposed to talk about politics and stuff like that. But the other thing we can do is we can elect the right kind of people into our legislator and governor and everything else. So, just to talk about you've seen the calendar. Juan's done a great job of capturing everything we're doing. I just want to touch upon like the next couple things that are coming on, right? So first one obviously is awards banquet next month. We are going to have it here, right? Again, we'll do the tablecloths and all that again. I will be doing an RSVP for that because we do want to know how many people because we're going to buy all the food and all that. So be watching for the RSVP. We'll use the same tool we did for the Christmas party. So it should be fairly simple that everybody gets an invitation and can RSVP for the event. There's obviously no charge versus the other one, but that one. The second thing I want to already get you thinking about is the auction, right? We're going to follow the following format for the auction. So when it comes down to people donating, whether it be a cash contribution or whether it be product contribution, it really comes down to relationships, right? That's one of the things we learned last year. It's, I always play this game. Who do you know and who do they know, right? That's how you get things done. And then this is no different than that, right? It's who you know and who knows them and who has a relationship with them. So when somebody asks, it's like, yeah, I want to support you. Like, yeah, you're my friend, etc. So the way we did it last year is we had people say, hey, I know so-and-so, and I'll take responsibility to contact them, right? And someone else said, oh, well, that's great. I don't have to talk to them, but I know so-and-so else, and I'll talk to them, right? So we did a really good job of leveraging the strength of the club to talk to a lot of different potential sponsors, which is why we had a great auction last year. We're going to follow the same path. So Joe's going to take the lead on this, and he's got a matrix, a list of members and sponsors, and he's going to be matching them up, right? So if you have someone you have a relationship with, and you'll take the responsibility, say, I'll contact Rife as an example, right? I'll contact Rife. We need to send an email to Joe to just let him know that you're gonna take that, and he'll fill it out that you got it. He's gonna follow up, track it, make sure we get closure on it. If for some reason you can't do it, someone else can step in and make it happen. We've actually broken it into 3 sections. So we've got the sponsors, then we've got the used equipment, right? So we made a lot of money last year by having those buckets with all the stuff that we donated ourselves, right? We cleaned out our garages. So I don't know if anybody's got stuff still in the garage after last year, but if you do, we're going to have buckets again, right? And so we want you to be thinking about between now and then, all your used gear you want to get rid of, we'll drop it in the $5, $10, $15, and $20 buckets, and we'll help support the club again that way. The third thing is the boats, right? We made a ton of money last year because a lot of people volunteered and took people out on their boats, and the money went to the club, right? So I'm going to take the ownership of that, and we'll do the same thing we did last year. We'll collect pictures. We'll create the flyers for each one of the boats with all the details, and we'll publicize it to everybody. And that way, when we actually have the auction, they'll be hot and heavy on your boat. I went to the Fathomeers meeting last month, talked to them about. Art gave me the time on their agenda. I talked to them about what's happening with our club as far as the Blue Water Meet, the Fall Classic, our auction. I talked to them a little bit about the offshore event that we're going to have this year, a new event, told them about that. And these people raised their hand and they said, hey, we don't have a lot of boats like you guys do. And I said, I have a solution. Come to our auction. Most of the guys auction off a spot on their boat. And that's how you could go on the offshore trip. And so a lot of them hopefully will come, bring their wallets and auction on some boats. So anyway, so if you're interested, and we'll get this out there, but if you're interested, I'm the person to email on the boats. David is, and with the help of the 10-8, is going to take all the used equipment that we're going to donate and put it together. Okay? And I think That's it.
Mention the location of the auction.
Yeah, it was on the thing, but I'll mention it again. It should be in the newsletter as well. It will be at Parcel Events, the same place we had the Christmas party. We think it's going to be awesome because we're going to be able to have lots of room to set the gear up where people can go look at it beforehand and all that. We're even debating on whether we could have some of the tables for some of the sponsors to be there, right? To not just donate a piece of equipment, but be there and talk to people about their skills and everything else. So, so anyway, that parcel is going to be awesome for that. So anyway, everybody knows, and it was mentioned earlier, I'm really big on safety. I think it's one of the most important things that we can do as a club is keep each other safe and take care of each other. So we've got a couple of things we're going to cover. We're going to cover obviously boat safety and then dive safety and dive classes. I will tell one quick story. You kind of inspired me on that with the tank thing. So I have been going calico hunting, as you know. So I took the whaler when I went out 3 weeks ago, I guess, to Catalina, and I got to stay with Lucky on the boat, and I took the whaler around the West End and was diving down there. And I normally don't have anything but my gun, but there were all these holes and everything else, and these damn little fish were going down in the holes, and so I grabbed the only flashlight I could find on the boat, and I stuck it on my left arm, and I was hunting, looking, and I saw this fish, and I went down and I shot and missed, and it went down deeper. I was already pretty deep, and it went down deeper than that, went in a hole, my shaft. So I go up to the top, let the line out, I'm on a reel, and I'm not used to having a flashlight. I wasn't even using it yet, I just took it. So I dived down, I'm probably about 55, 60 feet underwater, trying to get this shaft out of the hole, and somehow in messing with it, my band on my wrist wrapped around the hole, around the line, the shooting line. And when I went to get out of there because I couldn't get the shaft out, I was like this. I was stuck. And Juan saw this. I had actually didn't have the little thing that slides up and down to keep it on, so I tied a knot, so it was really tight. And for a split second, I was like, holy crap, I've done it again. I've done it with those stupid Dell boots, right? Fortunately, obviously I'm here, so I got my hand out, went to the surface. It jacked me up so bad mentally that I couldn't get that shaft out if you would have paid me. So I took the whaler all the way from the West End, all the way around, all the way back to my boat, got a tank, went back, and went down and got my shaft back. But I guarantee you, when I went down there with a tank, I realized I probably would have never got it out. I probably would have got killed if I would have kept trying. So I just second to have a tank on your boat. One, don't do stupid things, but if you do stupid things, have a tank on your boat. So anyway, Juan was able to arrange to have Abby come and talk to us about boat. I'll let you introduce yourself, give your background and all that, but we're excited to have you. Thank you.
Oh, no worries. Set this up real quick. All right. Sorry. Just break. It's gonna be a second. While you're gearing up, Bill.
So I want you guys all to take a second here. Ivan just went to the bathroom there, but you guys probably know that Ivan's going through some tough times with the family. Okay, his wife's been diagnosed with some breast cancer, and so they just need a lot of love. They need prayers. They need positive vibes. And we're his family, his extended family. Let's not forget about him during those times. Let's expect her to be getting better. So the card here, I think most everybody signed it. We're going to give it to Ivan. But if you haven't, if you want to grab a hold of it, feel free. And just, keep our brother in your thoughts, and particularly his wife, okay?
they'll work. Yeah, they work. What's that?
Could you do it here so we got you on camera?
Yeah.
Sure. Thank you.
All right, guys. Thanks for being patient. My name's Abby Balderas. I'm right now. I'm retired. I'm a retired rescue boat captain for Baywatch, actually all up and down the coast. So I lived near Juan. I was Juan's neighbor for about 7 years at the Isthmus, and worked Baywatch Avalon, Baywatch Malibu, Santa Monica, Marina Del Rey, Redondo, the whole up and down the coast. Retired in 2020, and then have since started Boat Ops Academy. So it's my little school. So I'm giving my shameless plug here. It's my boat school. We teach anything from 20-foot to 65-foot boats for operating for new boaters. And then we've also taken on like security teams that come down and they want to learn how to drive boats for their clients, things like that. So, whoops. That other one was, we have, I can't go back to it, but Naples Island Boat Club is another business that we have an offshoot of. So if any of you guys, we have a 25-foot Mako and a 20-foot Cobia. So if you guys want to get on the boat, just let me know. We'll get you out on there, and we'll do like, it's a 50% rate because we know that you guys are watermen and boaters. So just let me know if you guys want to get out on the water, and we'll set you up. This is all this kind of the stuff that I did. So 27 years as a Baywatch captain and crew, 15 years instructing for California boaters and waterways, boating waterways. Then also my boat school, and now teaching sailing. So don't hate me. And so what we're going to do today is we're just kind of going to go over. I know you guys are watermen, you're solid, you're good people. As a matter of fact, on the island, all the time that we've been out there, I can't tell you one time that we went gone after spear fishermen and had to respond to a call on spear fishermen. Scuba divers, yes. Boaters, fishermen, hikers, we run the gamut. Spear fishermen, I honestly can't reach back into my memory and see if I've ever responded to a spear fisherman. I know you guys have real issues, but the thing is you guys are watermen. You plan ahead. So I'm almost preaching to the choir here. But that being said, I'm a mediocre spear fisherman, so I'm not that great. But I do dive a lot. I do boat a lot, and my business is actually driving boats. So that being said, I'm kind of going to take you through our prep. We're going to getting ready. Some of the things that are out there now that are different than they were 10, 15 years ago. Lots happened in boating as far as apps, information, guides. So we'll go through that. Then we'll kind of go over pretty much a typical day on the water, some of the things you're going to want on your boat, some of the current rules that the Coast Guard have, some of the nice have-tos that they have out there as far as equipment. And then we're going to actually run through some emergencies that I kind of brainstormed that you guys would probably have to go through. And then interacting with agencies as far as on VHF radio and that kind of thing. So just kind of a show of hands, how many people actually have boats? Okay, so it's at least 50, maybe 60%. Okay, good deal. So just bear with me, and we'll go through some of the information. Some of it you might find interesting. with Boat Ops Academy, we have 7 boats, and so I'm always learning new rules as far as what the Coast Guard expects of us. So we'll just kind of go through with that. Okay, safety at sea. So one of the first things you're going to do is and I'm sure that you guys do this because you're in the water, even more so than most boaters, and you're on the bottom. You're gonna check out the weather, and you're gonna get familiar with the areas. So one of the things that I always like to preach is a week out, 3 days out, 24 hours out. Check the weather because it's going to change. But there's a lot of apps out there that can actually help you keep track of it all. So, and then we're also going to go over some of the boat equipment that we have. One of the things I like to preach is redundancy. When you're out in the water, it's only you. It's you and your boat and your crew. So you're going to have a backup to the backup. Just in terms of equipment, like with communications. You have your VHF radio, maybe take a handheld as well. Cell phones also are invaluable. I program in the local Sector LA's number so you can reach them directly if you need to. They will answer for emergency calls. And then don't forget your charger. So go with backup to the backup. That goes with first aid kits. Have extra stuff on board, extra water, extra sunscreen, that kind of thing. So redundancy. Personal equipment. I'm not gonna. Yeah, go ahead.
Are you familiar with the different wind forecast models, like the ECMF and the GFS forecast models?
I am.
So which one do you find to be more accurate for our areas?
So Predict Wind actually runs on those 4 different models. There's a European model. There's all these different models. I'm actually not that bright, so I usually go with the Windy app, which is actually just very straightforward. It takes all those into account, blends them into a weather forecast, and then you can choose the best out of them. But if you're going further than the local effect, like in a couple years, we're going to cross the Atlantic. We're going to have 4 different models, and we're going to follow all of them. And you're right, you do have to follow the best. I am not a weatherman, so I don't know which, but I'm pretty much a layperson, and so like Windy app is my go-to because it updates hourly or even more than that. There's Predict Wind is good for planning long routes. Well, let me get right into that. Okay. So on your phone, these things are great. Windy app is huge for me, and that goes up in the mountains, whether I'm up in the mountains or I'm on the water. I like to surf, so it even gives me ocean conditions. I have an iPhone. The weather app that we have on our iPhone is actually pretty good for precipitation and wind. So that's really good. There's a Predict Wind that we were talking about. Fish weather helps out. I think the interlay current and that kind of thing as far as being in the water. And then of course NOAA is just kind of the grandfather that we go to for our radar maps. But again, I usually check Windy app. If I'm taking a long trip, I'll take Predict Wind, and then weather is just for my precipitation locally. Some other really good apps out there is for Navily. Navily is more if you're looking for instance, I used it when we go to Greece or BVI, ports that I'm not familiar with. They'll give you what kind of bottom you're going to run into in any kind of bay or anchorages. You can look into that. It'll also give you what direction's protected if you're going to set up your anchorage in those areas. It's also going to give you an idea of what's on shore as far as any kind of stores or fueling stations, things like that. The same with No Foreign Land, which is that one. That one's No Foreign Land is more of a boater's app. It's not as much as being in the water. It's not going to deal with what you're looking for, but it's good if you're going if you need amenities in any of these ports. Believe it or not, I was out in the Bahamas sailing, and about 4 days into it, and Bahamas is notorious for having really shallow water and reefs. You'll see boats up on the reefs as you go travel and traverse the area. All my electronics gave out on our boat. So we stuck with Google Maps. Google Maps actually gives you a good radar view. They actually have pretty recent sandbars and reefs that are showing on there. And then we used Navionics. Navionics was also really good for us. So we used the two of those, combination of those two, that we made it for the next 2 weeks. So just being familiar with apps, and if you get into trouble out there, you can go ahead and mix up and use those. But again, the phone is invaluable. Also, if you have a iPad, that kind of thing. All right. All right. Now moving on to the pre-planning, getting your boat ready to go out. So the U.S. Coast Guard, they have the required stuff that you're going to get cited for if you don't have it on board. PFDs, type 1, 2, 3, and 5, the wearable, and then type 4 is throwable. If your boat's between 16 to 26 feet, they're going to want you to have the type 4 throwable on there, as well as one life jacket for each person on board. 16, I think it's 16 and under, they have to be wearing them and fitted to them. You can't have like a stock one that's thrown over your kid's head. They will cite you for that, so just be aware of that. Fire extinguishers, type 1, type B1 is required. If you have any kind of if you have an IO and there's fumes are going to be built up in there or any kind of enclosed engine space, they're going to want a type 1. If you have a bigger boat over 26, you're going to have 2 type 1s on there, or one type B2, which is just a bigger extinguisher. Visual distress signals. So we got a ton of those. We'll go over the next slide, but it's going to be, you're going to need 3 daytime and 3 nighttime. So we have some here that Juan brought. I'm gonna get rid of this for a second. Perfect. So we have the distress flag. And I think it's all of the square that we're supposed to be showing. Also, the other stress flag is November Charlie, which is going to be a blue and white checkered flag with a striped red, white, and blue flag. That's November Charlie. So that's our flags that we're going to be using for daytime only, of course. Then we have our flares, and then these are just handheld flares. You strike them like a big match. Take the cover off. Big sandpaper, flip it over, pull off the top, and run it across. And then you're going to hold it, and it's a lit flare. Some of them are daytime flares, which are going to be smoke flares. So you need 3 of these. You can also use the flare gun. Usually, a lot of times, it'll either be just a straight flare or a parachute flare. Parachute flares are going to be shot with something similar to this. This is going to be a capsule, and it's going to shoot a flare up in the sky. So we'll have that. That's nighttime and day. There's also ink that usually it's like a bright green, like your guys' shirts, or an orange. But they say any laid out is going to be in the distress signal. They also have a distress cloth, which is like a big cloth you just lay out, just to give a bigger target for anything that's above in the sky that's going to be looking down for you. Of course, smoke flares.
Can you use the mic still?
What's that?
Can you use the mic still?
Mic?
I can't hear you.
Oh, yeah. All right. No worries. Okay, is that better?
Yes.
Okay. So 3 nighttime, 3 daytime. If you didn't hear me, it was the cloth, the flags, November Charlie, the shooting flares, the parachute flares, and then just the handheld flares. Smoke signals as well.
Got a question.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
For everybody here, is anybody, who else puts flares on their floats?
Flares?
Flares. So a couple of years ago, your Lebanese buddy.
Daylight smoke.
Yeah, daylight smoke. So your Lebanese buddy got lost for a couple hours out there. They found him 2 miles from the last point. They had GPS the guy. You guys have heard the story. 2 miles away from them. That's a big freaking ocean. So since then, we've had we always vacuums here with deflators, have them attached to our float. Just a good practice. Haven't needed it yet, but if we ever need it. There's times like in Bola, we got stuck. He was down the way. We couldn't tell. There's a big freaking sea line on him, but we didn't see that going on.
Yeah.
But if you're not doing it, it's a good idea. Vacuum seal, duct tape your flares.
Plus, it looks pretty cool. You got the ghetto duct tape on your float.
Very cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you, FAA, if it's like a check baggage, can you fly with a flare?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't think so. I don't think so. No. Yeah, I think you would have to order them ahead of time and send them out. But anyway, by the way, please, if you have any input, it's just we're both running this, so it's open mic.
There's one other site you can help for weather that I think is good. It's called Zoom Earth.
Zoom Earth? Oh yeah.
Zoom Earth, and it shows you if it's foggy and you want to know if it's foggy in Catalina, go to Zoom Earth. Show you real time what's happening from the satellite.
Zoom Earth. Okay.
Zoom.Earth.
Zoom.Earth. And is that an app or a website?
Website.
Website. Okay. All right. Good to know.
I also checked the what's that Eagle Cam too.
Well, yeah.
And then there's that. Or call on.
Also, sound producing device. Basic. But you know what? I would add to that, add a whistle for your own body. If you guys are in the water, I think just a small plastic whistle, attach it somewhere. Because I've been in tank diving, and my boat couldn't find me, and I was in among bull kelp, and so I called them, and they were able to hear me with my whistle. So it does help. Yeah.
Also, too, it says sound device, and the one thing that I always carry on my boat is a cowbell, because the horns run out of air. If you're in, and we've all been there, you're anchored, you're in the kelp bed, the fog comes in. If somebody can get back to the boat and they just clank that bell, you'll be able to get back there. And it will not run out of horn.
Yeah. Oh, good point. I like it.
And they're cheap, right? A couple bucks. Like clank, 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 clank.
It reminds me of the Will Ferrell thing, but that's a whole different story. Anything else? All right, we'll go on to the next one. Whistle and horn or cowbell. And then that would be for the boat, and I think for you personally as a diver, I think it would be a good idea to have as well. Ventilation, this is just now, the last four are just Coast Guard regs for the boat. You needed, if you have a boat that has enclosed engine space, you're gonna have to have a blower on it. Backfire arresters for any of the engines. Some of the older engines, they just had straight air filters, but you need the backfire flame arresters, oil and garbage placards, and marine sanitation device. So it just means you can't be dumping trash over the side. You have to have a receptacle for it. Anyway, kind of going over that again. Here's some of the, now this is, that Coast Guard list is minimal. It's what they require legally, but we all know you're not going to leave them and go out on the open water without a VHF radio. That's a recommended, but I think you need to have that. Anyway, anchor with sufficient line and chain. So have the right anchor rode. Usually, for me, it's a minimum 150 feet with about 15 feet of chain and the rest line, so that you get at least that 3-to-1 scope, and that's a whole different class. But if you're anchoring, it's going to be 3-to-1 scope, meaning you want it three times as much line as the depth that you're in. So if you're in 20 feet of water, 60 feet of anchor rode. Baler or bucket or kind of the pump that's going to get water out of your boat. Oars and paddles, of course. First aid kit. We'll go over the first aid kit a little bit later, but for you, what you guys are doing, you need a little bit more specialized first aid kit. You need something with a little bit more with if there's any kind of traumatic injuries, bleeding, that kind of thing. We'll go over that though. VHF radio, fuel and water, toolkit, both for your equipment and for your boat. Sun protection and flashlight. Bring a couple flashlights. As a signaling device, have one that's just specifically for a signaling device, being able to do SOS or that kind of thing if you're signaling. Another good one for a signaling device is small mirrors. That if you need to signal in, those work as well. We actually had a guy in a lifeguard tower. He was kind of a wingnut, and he was over there at Dockweiler Beach, and there was a presidential, I guess, set of helicopters flying across, 4 or 5 helicopters, and he signaled with his little mirror, and 2 of them came over and then like hovered over his lifeguard station, and then they finally went off, and we had to send him off the beach. Like I said, he was a wingnut. Anyway, so these are they were quite recommended, but again, this is all bare minimum stuff. This is stuff that any solid boater is going to have out there. Any questions when it comes to the recommended list? All right, let's go a little bit more specific. For life jackets, type 1, 2, 3, and 5, and then 4 is a throwable, just so you get a quick visual. Type 3 is for like water skiers or anything, or kayakers or anything that's going to be specialized for that sport. Not as much flotation. It's not going to be able to flip somebody that's unconscious back onto their back. So type 3 won't save someone that's injured. Type 1 and 2 will set somebody up on their back so that their airway is clear. And then the other one is like if you're sailing or something like the type 5 is just more so you can move around your boat and then you can deploy it if you need it.
And type 5 only counts if you're actually wearing it.
Yes.
Like you can't just have it stowed away and count that as a...
No, you can. Yeah, you can. Yeah, as long as it's on board. You don't have to be wearing it the whole time for the type 5, so I think I'm pretty sure it counts. You have to be wearing it?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Because you have to activate it, so it's got to be like all.
The only reason I say that is because during our charter, I have a charter boat that we go out at, and they count that as qualified equipment. But maybe because of U.S. Coast Guard, this is British Virgin Islands, so different rules maybe. But okay, so you have to be wearing a type 5. Okay, good to know.
I got a question while you're on
Yeah.
off topic on boats. I just started using SUP with my kids.
Okay.
You gotta have a life jacket with an SUP.
You know, that's like Redondo Beach will require a life jacket on a paddleboard, but for the most part on open ocean, a paddleboard is a flotation device. So it's a tough call. It's more like Redondo Beach or Redondo Harbor Department will enforce it. LA County lifeguards, we won't, because it's like you're not going to make a surfer wear a life jacket, right? Unless it's unless they want to. But no, as far as I know, an SUP is still open on California waters with the SUP acting as the flotation device. All right, and then here's some of the, just kind of going over some of the signaling devices. Pretty self-explanatory. We have the daytime ones, nighttime ones. That's pretty much, any questions with those? That's pretty self-explanatory.
Who here has actually used the flare? Not a lot. You guys want to see how to use them? I'm not going to set them off. Yeah, an actual flare.
Hey, hey, you want to try? Was that when you locked your shaft? Was that when you locked your drive shaft or no? No? Okay. All right.
It's a good idea to practice.
It is.
It's a lot you learn.
And yeah, use your expired ones for a reason. One of the quick little side notes is if you're going to use it near the water and you're going to, like one that you actually shoot up in the sky, you can go ahead and let the Coast Guard know that you're going to be doing exercises. That's totally okay, but let them know. Otherwise, you're going to have every responding agency heading out there in a hurry. So just let people know. Okay, what's up?
How do you let them know?
They have a number. Just 215. Yeah, just it's a quick office number. Just look them up online, but it's a quick call to the Coast Guard. And what we do a lot of times is we have like a safety day, so we'll let them know ahead of time. Hey, this afternoon we're going to be doing a 20 to 30 flare shootings.
Bring your cowbell too, Steve.
You need to wear a jacket, life jacket when you're surfing.
There you go. You guys are all watermen and better divers than I am as far as free divers. But some of the things that I think would make sense, have a flow plan. It doesn't necessarily have to go to the Coast Guard, but let somebody that you know is going to be like somebody at home saying, hey, we're going to be going out for this afternoon. If something happens, if we're not back by tonight, send help. Just set up a flow plan, simple flow plan, just saying, hey, we're going to go out tonight, we're going to be back at this time, and a general location of where you're going to go, or a direction of where you're going to go. Just a simple flow plan. I always like 2 knives when I'm diving. Like I said, I'm more of a tank diver. I'll have my regular dive knife, and then on my on BC, I'll have a small, like a $7 knife that I've actually used several times. But reason being, especially with you guys that have float lines and spear gun, the lines, if you get caught up in a situation and you go to reach for that knife and you drop it and it goes down, you're stuck. And if you're on a line or you're caught, you can reach up and grab that second line and cut away. So anyway, my rookie suggestion, 2 knives. Having the whistle on you, and then there was a question about personal location beacons. I think they're great if you want to put the money out. I just really wouldn't have them on me. I would put them on your float. And then EPIRBs aren't required for like personal boats. It's usually commercial boats. And if anything happens to the boat, they get set off, they touch the water. Personal location beacons are, of course, for the person. So if you get separated from your boat for whatever reason, you're going to be close to your float generally. I would suggest putting it on your float if you're going to use a PLB. Yeah.
So 5 years ago, I lost a guy on my boat, and it was the scariest thing as a skipper that's ever happened to me. I hit man overboard, left him, went to pick up another guy with another fish, got tangled up. What's that? Open water down in Mexico, past the point, the corner. Finally got the other fish on the boat, got the diver on the boat, went back. Gone, obviously. I mean, even with the man overboard, current, this is good right now. Make a long story short, we finally found it, obviously. And but I actually have 2 personal AIS devices on my boat right now. And so if you're diving with me and we get anywhere close to sundown, that's one thing I did add. The sun was going down and I was watching it, right? I was literally watching how fast the sun goes down at the end of the day. And I just knew if we didn't find him pretty quick, we were going to get in trouble. So I have 2 personal AIS devices on my boat. So if I've got anybody on my boat, we're rotating 2 guys, and it's anywhere close to being the end of the day, they go on. So it's $300 nowadays, right? So Mike bought one personally. So when he's on the boat, we got 3 of them. So and you can program right to your boat. You know they know right where you are. So it's definitely something I would add. $300 now? That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's like $395. Mike, what would go like that?
I bought mine for $7. That's 3 years ago. Okay. Also, you guys, again, just for me personally, I think the one down, one up, one down is a great rule for several reasons, and we'll go into that. But I think it's a smart policy. I mean, I know when you're diving, you're looking, you're hunting. But I think it's something good to keep in the back of your mind. Is one up, one down, go with the buddy. Because things can go sideways in a heartbeat, and you know that. All right, so just going over the VHF radio protocol. Marine Dive Radio VHF
16, you guys are, I'm sure, all familiar with VHF 16 and our Marine Band radio. There's 16 is the handling distress frequency. The first function is to be able to just call any alert. Call them, you say, chasing tail, chasing tail, chasing tail, this is a 25-foot cobalt. Are you out there? Yeah, let's go over to a working channel. So you move over to a working channel, 6.8, 6.9, something that's not gonna have a lot of traffic. That way you don't clutter up 16. 16, especially on a busy weekend or something like that, if we have a call going on, and I noticed, I mean, in the middle of it, like, we're kind of like, when I was working Baywatch, we get a call, we're running the call, it's hot and heavy, and then somebody gets on there, hey, anybody seen any fish out there? And then we just missed a coordinate, or we missed somebody's status as far as medically. So, make contact and move off the channel. So back to 16 being a distress frequency, everyone in the world is monitoring. Coast Guard, Baywatch, Harbor Patrol, Sheriff's Harbor Patrol, everyone is listening, as well as all the commercial boaters and recreational boaters. Everyone's on 16. And the reason that is if there's something going on close to you, you can hear it loud and clear, you're going to look around and you're going to help out. If anything, just to stand by for the Coast Guard or the lifeguards to get there. Some of the things when calling on VHF 16, and there's 3 levels of distress. Of course, we all know Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. Mayday, first thing I want to tell you is don't hesitate to call on Mayday. You can always cancel. A lot of people, one story. Sorry, I promised I wouldn't talk story, but I got to talk story. There was a guy, we're following a call. The guy's like, hey, I'm starting to take on water. Okay, copy that. So we worked the call, and he didn't want to go and make an emergency. He's like, oh, I'm fine, I can swim, I'm alive. I'm like, well, how far out are you? We're like, well, I can't read the GPS, my boat sank from under me, I'm just floating. I'm like, no, that's a Mayday. So anyway, he refused to call Mayday, and he watched his boat sink from under him. So, call Mayday. What that does for us, as responders, it gives us a chance to get our shit together, get on the boat, and start in around. And if we get out, past the breakwater, and we get canceled, it's not a big deal. We just turn around and come back. But that saves you guys 20 to 30 minutes before we get there, if we're on our way rolling.
Like Kurt Chambers, and I was so confused, I almost shoved him aside. Because, I was all hyped to do this dive. And, if you miss your official top, it's like, no do-overs, So I'm like, and he's going on about oxygen. He's a cheapskate. He's a friend, he's a cheapskate, And so he's like, yeah, I got some oxygen, but like, I don't, we probably don't really need it, and it clicked, oh, it's about oxygen. Oh, wow, I had a blackout. So yeah, talking is nice because they'll hear. And then usually as far as like any physical stuff, we typically would teach like on the cheekbone, tapping there, a little like a sternum rub. It's a little less aggressive than say like a sternum rub, but yeah, but you can, as far as the blacked out dive in these situations, the most important thing is the back and at the same time. How come you don't snap your shit out? Well, I mean, you read that was the old school type stuff, and again, the situations I'm dealing with that I see, it's not somebody like, I remember I was doing a talk on this at the Fountain Beers, and I was like, yeah, you can't really have we don't really see shallow water blackout on 30-foot dive. And of course, Paul raises his hand. And he's like, well, I took him, this is his first time out, it was nighttime, we're at SBI, I took him into this cave, we got in the washing machine, he's stuck in a cave in the dark, I pulled him out unconscious. Okay, that's very different than like a lot of the classic spearfishing blackouts where it's just somebody coming up and then but yeah, that's as far as the blackout.
Is there a propensity to black out more if you black out?
So good question. On the day, it would be like yes, because the body is going to be at a cellular level pretty tired. Right. Even in the training world, the competition world, we see a lot. If someone has blackout, we're like, hey, take 3 days off, take 2 days off. We're overtrained. But as far as like the next day, they would be fine. We could say maybe somebody has habits, you know, like there's that. But as far as physically, no, but the nervous system's tired, the body's tired. You should. We would say in that situation again, if they haven't, it's like I said, it's very different. Somebody like blacking out underwater in a washing machine. We are potentially dealing with aspiration and all that stuff. But if it's the just a regular blackout, we would say like no diving, but I mean you can even surface safety, you know, or something like that. But you just don't need to use rifles. And yeah, we don't water.
I'm still blown away. You're like, oh, the first time I blacked out. I'm like, what?
Well, I mean these are very different than like the rescue calls.
Right.
You know, lifeguard, you know, body in the waves.
Right.
Like I deal with lots of blackouts. I've never actually I've never seen a blackout spearfishing. You know, like in my world, the competition world, it's just par for the course. You know, like if you're going to do that.
So crazy.
And so we deal with it, and everything is set up so it is a controlled environment.
Right.
We have a lot of experience with those because you just, you know, I mean, I'm hands-on in primary safety for probably at least a dozen, and I've seen dozens and dozens and dozens for 4 world championships in 8 years with free diving. But so it is different in that sense. But that really brings it around, and then just make sure that whatever you're doing, everything is like if they're unconscious, keep their way out.
Yeah, I mean, in a controlled environment like that, it only highlights how important it is to stay on top of your diver.
Oh yeah, exactly. It's easy to safety that.
Right. But and then the thing is you're going to do a quick recovery. If someone's down for any length of time, that reflex where it stops the
once they
breathing.
reach an oxygen, it's done.
Well, yeah, but, and then after if the victim's submerged for a while, that will relax.
Yeah.
And so then it becomes critical.
Yeah.
I'm it's already critical.
And it gets weaker the more oxygen.
Thank you. Quick, I'm just going to roll through these. Lost diver, some quick points. It's important to mark the last point seen with any kind of an anchored or secured spot, because what happens is if you're diving and moving and looking for someone, that's going to be it's going to be hard to keep up and try to get back to where that last point seen was. Last point seen is important. That's where we can start our search. Calling VHF, start Mayday, take into account, again, someone was saying about the time of day. If you're at the end of the day, you want to be more careful, because if that turns into a search and we go into the night, it makes it super hard. If you're going to go ahead and attempt a search on your own before the crew gets here, minimum 2 divers in a pair. This isn't authorized by county, by the way. I'm just saying, I couldn't sit on a boat and just say, my friend's down there somewhere, so I'm going to wait for the lifeguards. So I understand people, and you guys are all watermen, you're going to get in the water. Work in the search pattern with the other diver. Usually when we're doing a search pattern for looking for somebody and we're diving, usually one person's controlling the actual search pattern, which is going to be, it could be 10 kicks, and then 2 kicks to the right, 10 kicks back. One person's counting. They're going to be looking, but the other person's going to be right there spotting them, and they're going to be the eyes. So just in pairs, it makes it more efficient, it makes it safer. And then also coordinate with your boat operator, knowing which areas are covered and which teams are out there. And there's you don't want to lose somebody else, so everyone needs to be accounted for, 2 people at a time, and coordinated. It's not just a mad scramble looking for your friend. It has to be safe. Okay. I think we got one more. That's it. All right. Any questions? I know I rambled on for a long time, but
Yeah, real quick. I know I'm out of Renard If Harbor Patrol told me that like they would bring somebody, you know, on a boat unconscious, the hoist is their preferred, you know, like in an ambulance intercepting at the hoist.
Yeah.
At the other harbors, would you say like default, unless it's different, like any of the boat launches would be where you would want to, you know, if you've already got somebody on board, you're like calling ahead, like, hey, we're steaming in. You know, where would you default to?
It's actually situational, because like a cabriolet, as you come in and you have a cabriolet landing there, but a lot of times they'll just have you go straight into the Coast Guard base and they'll have the fire department respond there. So you're going to have to coordinate with the Coast Guard and they'll tell you where to go. But you're right though, for most of the part, you're going to want to have access to a dock that's going to have they're going to be able to take the gurney up and down, that kind of thing. So But yeah, private docks aren't generally where they're going to go to. They're going to go to either launch ramps, public ramps, or like facilities for like Coast Guard or the Government Harbor Patrol. That's pretty much it. All right.
Woo, safety.
Well, that's it, guys. Thanks for coming. Oh yeah, we got the wrap-up video. Oh, we got somebody who can pull pull it out. Pull mine out. Pull it out. Pull mine.
Last three numbers, 318. 318. There you go.
Chicken dinner.
Woo.
Five.
I think we have one cell.
Thanks again, everybody. Have a good night. Drive safe.